HMRC confirms $300 deduction from UK pensioners' accounts. Urgent action needed. Imagine waking up one morning, checking your bank account, and realizing $300 has just vanished without warning. For thousands of UK pensioners, this is not a nightmare. It's becoming reality as HMRC begins direct deductions. The move has already sparked fear and outrage, and the question everyone is asking is, could you be next? The tax authorities in the United Kingdom have just delivered a shock announcement that is already creating a wave of concern. HMRC has confirmed that it will be directly deducting $300 from the bank accounts of certain pensioners. This isn't a vague warning or a policy that might come into effect years from now. It is confirmed action, and for many older citizens living on fixed incomes, this news feels like a devastating blow. For some, losing $300 in one single deduction could mean going without groceries, putting off medical appointments, or struggling to pay energy bills that are already difficult to keep up with. The frustration and fear being expressed by pensioners across the country is completely understandable because this move seems to target people who are often the least financially flexible. HMRC insists that the deduction is not being introduced as a punishment, but rather as a correction. Officials are framing it as an adjustment to deal with overpayments, tax mismatches, or long-standing accounting errors that have built up through the years. The tax system in the UK is notoriously complex, especially for retirees with multiple sources of income, such as the state pension, workplace pensions, private savings, and even small benefit entitlements. These overlapping income streams often trigger discrepancies in records, and HMRC now says it must step in to recover what it believes is owed. Pensioners who rely only on the state pension, with their tax already accounted for at source, are at much lower risk. However, those who have private pensions, additional earnings, or benefit claims flagged as overpaid are much more likely to be caught up in this deduction scheme. The deduction itself could happen in two ways. In some cases, HMRC may instruct banks to directly withdraw the $300 from a pensioner's account, a legal process known as direct recovery of debts. Under this system, the authority is required to leave enough money for essential living expenses, but for many pensioners, the sudden removal of funds will still cause distress. In other cases, the $300 may be recovered gradually through tax code adjustments. That would mean reduced pension or benefit payments over the course of several months, softening the immediate blow, but stretching the financial strain over time. Whichever method is used, HMRC is supposed to notify pensioners in advance, usually through a letter, a P800 assessment, or an online account update. However, critics warn that many retirees often only notice after the deduction has already been made, leaving them little room to prepare. This raises serious questions about fairness and transparency. While HMRC is bound by legal safeguards that require it to give notice and allow individuals to appeal, the process is not always clear-cut. Pensioners who receive outdated or confusing letters or who do not regularly check online tax accounts could be left in the dark. Disputes can be raised, but they take time, and during that period, the deduction might already have gone through. Advice services, such as citizens' advice and pensioner advocacy groups, can offer guidance, but not every retiree is aware of these resources or confident enough to use them. It places a heavy burden on individuals to protect themselves from errors that are not their fault. The impact on real people cannot be overstated. Imagine Mary, a 72-year-old living on her state pension and a small workplace pension. An overlap in her tax relief records results in a $300 deduction. For Mary, this could mean missing 2 weeks of groceries. Alan, a 68-year-old with modest savings and interest income, finds that HMRC believes some of his bank interest was underreported. The deduction comes directly from his account, forcing him to reshuffle his limited budget. Eve, aged 75, who receives pension credit and benefits, suddenly sees her account reduced after HMRC claims there was an overpayment. For someone already living hand-to-mouth, that deduction could mean falling behind on rent or bills. These scenarios may sound hypothetical, but they represent exactly the kind of situations pensioners are already facing or could soon face. For those worried about being caught up in this policy, there are steps to take now. Logging into your personal tax account on the official government website can reveal whether HMRC believes you owe money or if adjustments are pending. Letters like P800 assessments or overpayment notices should never be ignored, even if they seem minor or unclear. Cross-checking pension payments against tax codes is also crucial. If you notice mismatches, contacting HMRC quickly may prevent a harsher outcome later. And if the deduction does happen, there are still options: appealing the calculation, requesting a repayment plan to spread the cost, or asking HMRC to reduce or delay the deduction if it would cause financial hardship. Acting quickly, keeping records, and seeking help can make a huge difference in how damaging the process becomes. This development should also serve as a wake-up call for pensioners and their families. The financial landscape is changing, and HMRC appears to be moving towards more direct methods of recovering money rather than relying on slower, paper-based adjustments. In the future, pensioners may face more frequent reconciliations of their accounts, greater use of direct recovery, and stricter scrutiny of mixed income sources. The expectation is growing that retirees must actively maintain digital tax accounts and stay vigilant about correspondence. While this may be manageable for some, for many older pensioners who are not tech savvy, it adds yet another layer of anxiety to their financial lives. The criticisms are clear. This policy risks punishing those who can least afford it. A sudden $300 deduction could push vulnerable pensioners into overdraft, triggering additional bank fees. Errors in HMRC records, which are not uncommon, could result in unjust deductions. Some pensioners may not receive proper notice or may lack the means to appeal in time. And while the government stresses that safeguards exist, the reality is that the system places much of the responsibility on individuals who are already struggling. In the bigger picture, this policy signals a shift in how pensioners should approach their financial planning. Setting aside a small emergency buffer, even if it means cutting discretionary expenses, could help soften the blow of unexpected deductions. Staying proactive by checking records, keeping documentation, and responding promptly to HMRC correspondence is no longer optional. It is essential. While not every pensioner will face this $300 deduction, the fact that it is now confirmed shows that the risks are real, and the best defense is awareness and action. For pensioners, their families, and anyone concerned about future financial stability, the message is clear: stay informed, stay prepared, and never ignore a letter or notice from HMRC. The system is becoming more aggressive in its efforts to recover money, and being caught off guard could have serious consequences. Knowledge, vigilance, and quick action are the only tools available to protect against the financial shocks that may be on the horizon.